Hi, my name is FDoka, and I will be presenting my research on the Navajo Nation and its tribal court system as part of the Tribal Courts in Indian Country course here at the University of Oklahoma. First, I will discuss the history of the Diné or Navajo people. They had contact with the Spanish as early as the 16th century. By the late 18th century, they were heavily involved in conflict with the settlers and surrounding tribes. In 1848, the United States and Mexico signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo that ended the Mexican-American War. This resulted in ceded land to the United States known as the Mexican Cession. Within that land were the original Navajo homelands shown in the photo. By 1863, the Navajo Indians were moved from their homelands to Fort Sumner, New Mexico, where they spent 5 years until the Treaty of the Navajo was signed, and they were able to move back to their traditional homelands. By 1923, the Navajo Nation established their government in order to lease its lands to companies interested in the oil and other resources found there. The treaty with the Navajo was signed June 1st, 1868. I'd like to take a minute to discuss the content of the treaty. Article 1 ceased the war between the two nations. It states, "Government of the United States desires peace, and its honor to hereby pledge to keep it." The Indians desire peace, and now they pledge their honor to keep it. Article 2 established the reservation boundaries where it is bound by the 37th parallel, Fort Defiance, Old Fort Lyon, and Canyon de Chelly. Article 6 required that children aged 6 to 16 attend schools to receive an English education provided by the United States. Article 9 states that tribes will relinquish all right to occupy any territory outside the reservation and will not oppose future construction of railroads, wagon roads, mail stations, or other works of utility or necessity which may be ordered or permitted by the laws of the United States, and will not attack any persons, wagon trains, coaches, mules, or cattle belonging to the people of the United States or to persons friendly therewith. Article 11 required that the Navajos return to their reservation from Bosque Redondo, and the United States would pay for their subsistence en route and providing a reasonable amount of transportation for the sick and feeble. Article 13 made the reservation a permanent home for the people and penalized them for leaving, where if they left, the treaty states they shall forfeit all their rights, privileges, and annuities conferred by the terms of this treaty. It is important to look how the government structure changes throughout the years and see its importance and influence it has on the current structure. The traditional government structure was based around kinship and familial ties regarding the clan-based system. When the Navajo were relocated to Bosque Redondo, they were divided into 12 villages where they appointed their chiefs. When they moved back to their homelands, the Bureau of Indian Affairs set up the village system that later molded the chapter system that the Navajos still use today. The current government is divided into 3 branches, including the executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. The Navajo Nation Code holds the laws and statutes enacted by the Navajo Nation Council. In total, there are 26 titles that set out the current government and agencies. The role of the judicial branch are laid out heavily in these titles below. Title 1, General Provisions. Title 2, Navajo Nation Government. Title 7, Courts and Procedure. Title 17, Law and Order. Looking back on the court history shows how the courts are ran today. In 1883, the Secretary of the Interior created the Court of Indian Offenses, and 11 years later, in 1892, the court was amended to the Navajo Reservation, but was still under BIA oversight. By 1958, the Navajo Nation Tribal Council created the Navajo Tribal Court to take the place of the Navajo Court of Indian Offenses. The BIA court systems were not aligned with Navajo traditional beliefs, and with the constant oversight, the Navajo were still able to incorporate their traditional values. When they finally created their own courts, they were able to use the Navajo common law as their preference for justice and peace. The Supreme Court is located in Winter Rock, Arizona. There are 11 district courts total, 6 being in Arizona, which include Chinle, Desil-Yichin, Kayenta, Tuba City, Winter Rock, Tilcon. There are also 4 in New Mexico, Crown Point, Rama, Shiprock, Alamo/Tohojale, and 1 in Aneth, Utah. The Supreme Court is comprised of the Chief Justice and 2 Associate Justices. The Chief Justice is also head of the judicial branch. There are 18 judge positions that serve the district courts. Title VII of the Navajo Nation Code, Section 251 states, "The district courts of the Navajo Nation shall consist of judges recommended by the Judiciary Committee of the Navajo Nation Council, appointed by the President of the Navajo Nation and confirmed by the Navajo Nation Council." Title VII of the Navajo Nation Code, Section 204, states that in all cases the courts of the Navajo Nation shall first apply applicable Navajo Nation statutory law and regulations, and shall utilize Diné Benahazani, which is Navajo traditional, customary, natural, or common law, to guide their interpretations. They may also receive advice from those who are not knowledgeable in Diné Benahazani. Title VII of the Navajo Nation Code, Section 253, laid out the jurisdiction of the district courts, where they have jurisdiction over the crimes listed out in Title 17 of the Navajo Nation Code, Section 101 and the following, civil causes of action and other miscellaneous matters. The family courts have exclusive jurisdiction over all cases involving domestic relations, probate, adoption, paternity, custody, child support, guardianship, mental health commitments, mental and or physical incompetence, name changes, and others. The Supreme Court's jurisdiction is laid out in Title VII, Section 302, where they can hear the appeals from judgments of the district courts of the Navajo Nation and other administrative orders. They also have jurisdiction over original extraordinary writs. They are also the last resort for judgment. The qualifications to take the Navajo Nation Bar Association bar exam in order to gain membership of the tribal bar is to be 21 years or older at the time of application, have good moral character and are fit to practice law, have no conviction of a felony, misdemeanor, or any equivalent involving moral turpitude, have not been disbarred by any court or bar association for their criminal activity or any manner concerning personal integrity or violation of standards of practice for the protection of the public, unless the disbarment has been lifted by whomever originally imposed it. Those who are not enrolled in a federally recognized tribe must be in good standing of the bar of any state or have taken or applied to take the bar exam and graduated from an American Bar Association accredited law school. The difference for those that are enrolled is that they must show proof of their enrollment in a federally recognized tribe and have either graduated with their law degree, a bachelor's degree, or completed one of the following: paralegal training, advocacy, or apprenticeship programs verified by the NNBA training committee. Those that do not have their law degree are required to take the NNBA bar review course before taking the NNBA bar exam within the 2 years. All members of the NNBA are required to accept pro bono appointments. This includes pro hac vice attorneys. A pro hac vice attorney may practice with the approval from the NNBA. They may practice in any civil or criminal case and may appear one time per calendar year. They also have to be in good standing with the bar in the state where they practice and must comply with the Navajo Rules of Professional Conduct and the Navajo Pro Bono Rules and consent to the jurisdiction of the Navajo Nation Courts and the NNBA Disciplinary Committee. The peacemaking program is part of the Navajo Nation's judicial branch, but it is not a court. It is designed to help the people resolve conflict with one another. It uses traditional teachings of the Navajo fundamental law to come to a resolution. The goal is to return to Hojo, or peace and harmony. The process includes working with a peacemaker or a traditional specialist. They're not judges, but spiritual leaders helping people come to consensus. The process is done in the home, chapter house, or at a court facility, and where the parties come together with the peacemaker to reach a resolution. It is often the preferred method to resolve conflict as it minimizes the cost of the court proceedings. Peacemakers that lead these programs are often asked by judges to make recommendations to reach harmony